Okay, so the first animal that we're going to draw is a maned wolf. This is from Instagram Best Wild Planet. There's a lot of Instagram accounts that just have really cool images of animals. So, okay, so I'm just going to use the Procreate pencil just to keep it simple. Okay, so he has some really great shapes, really long legs. And the first thing that I'm going to do is start with just kind of an oval, just so I can kind of get the basic shape of his face. So he's sort of he has an odd shaped face, but I'm just going to start with this oval here. And then I'm just going to make a center line. And he has these sort of, almost like a fox, but not really. So they sort of come off here. So I'm just going to mark off the sketch just so I kind of have an idea. And I want to keep things as even as possible. Alright, so I'm going to make some eyes already. I'm just going to make some circles just so we kind of have an idea of where his eyes are. They're sort of like half circles. Okay. And now for his nose, I always start out with this shape underneath the eyes, and then whatever the nose is, I just kind of start from there and I just draw it down. So he has a long nose, or a long snout, I should say, and I'll just give him a circular nose at the bottom. And now I'm basically just following these shapes. Now, you just have to think of whatever the animal is as a shape, and then just make it as simple as possible. So, for example, for this guy, the shape. Oh, let me use a different. So the shape comes here, and just think of it like that. And you want to do the same thing on the other side, like that. So that's the shape that I pretty much see for his face. And then for the ears, you just want to simplify it. You don't have to go into all of this detail, like going like here. You don't have to do all that detail. Just simplify it. It'll make your life a lot easier. And for the eyes, if you saw what I did with the eyes, I usually just start with a line underneath. And that's how I make the eyes. I don't do it exactly perfect with the animal I'm drawing. I just do the eyes like this. And then you have your eyes, because you're not always going to be able to see them on the animal. Sometimes it's the picture, sometimes they just have dark eyes like this. Of course, you can always draw them that way. Those are the stylistic choices that you can make. Let me bring him a little closer, just for this bit. Okay. Okay, so we have his nose here. Let me go back to Procreate pencil. And now I'm just going to start with that shape that I made before. It actually looks like it. And that's the beauty of a messy sketch, is you can get as messy as you need with the sketch. Okay, then it sort of comes up to a point, and then those big ears that we talked about. And it's really important that the shape looks cool. You want the general shape to match the shape of the animal. So now you can do tweaks. So I feel like his face is a little thinner in the image. So I'm just sort of trimming off some of my sketch here. His nose might be a little wider. So I make his nose a little bigger, pretty much like a fox. He looks very, very close to a fox. Okay, so as for eyes, we're going to make our line below. And if you want to make him cute and happy, then you can make his eyes nice and open like this. Or if I want to stick more to what the photo shows, I can keep those lines. But now he has very straight, this bit is very straight here. So I'm just going to draw a straight line for that. And we'll make him looking over to the side. And then how about, and this is another trick I do for the eyes. I always do this sort of eye socket area. Because you can use this, like if you want to make an eyebrow type. Obviously he doesn't really have eyebrows, but if you wanted to, you know, switch this up and give him a different personality, then you can just play with these lines here. If you want to make him sad, well, he doesn't look too sad with his eyes like that, but it'd be something more like that. Angry. It'd be something more like that. So we'll make one angry, and we'll sort of flow it into that that eye socket shape. And then this one we'll make not as angry, sort of inquisitive. And all of that you can really get from this eyebrow type shape. And then you want to put he has these really nice little black marks here. So you definitely want to add those. So we'll put one here, and we'll put the other one up here. Okay, well maybe we'll make them a little more. We'll curl them a little bit more. That's a little bit better. And you want to make that top eyelash area really dark. So make that really dark. Okay, he's looking okay so far. So this is a bit tricky with his mouth. You can see that his mouth is actually down here. But I really want to show his mouth. So since he's in this position, I'm just going to cheat it and bring his mouth all the way up here. That way it's like you're seeing some of his mouth. So that was a total cheat, but it just helps the image. You know, it really helps the image out. And so one thing that I see is this is a bit low, like his forehead, because he has this nice black line here. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit. And let me do that a little bit slower. So what I did is I just hit select. I hit the little ribbon tool here, and I'm on freehand, and I just select, you know, whatever it is I need to, and then I just bring it up a little bit. And then you can just, you know, so that way you have a little bit more space. And he has this nice black line, so I'm going to sort of, I'll just make that black line here. And this is actually all dark. So if you look really closely, you know, if I want to make this shape, I'll make it sort of like a diamond and then color all of that in. So I'll just make like a little shape like this, and then I'll just shade all this in. Even his little nose. And his eyes are pretty dark, so I'm going to shade in underneath his eyes too. I'll shade in above. I'm going to use that eye socket area and just shade that in a little bit. Okay, it's looking pretty good so far. Now for the ears, I always do this little curve. It just kind of gives the ear some shape. I'll just shade it in a little bit. And then for the ear hairs, I'll just cheat the ear hairs like this. So now we have our little face here. Okay, so now we can do his body, which is a little tricky. I'm not gonna lie, his body's a little tricky, but the same thing, if you just use the shapes and just have fun with it, accentuate all of these things, try to match the proportions, which I'll show you the way that I do it now. I'm gonna make a new layer because I'll probably mess up on this, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The first thing I see is there's orange in between his ears about halfway, so I'll make that there. And now for this black mane, so I'm going to bring that way up, and I'll do a little bit of loops for hair, and then I'll bring it back over and do a little bit more loops for hair. So this is really big, but that's the fun part, turning it into a cartoon and really just you know, really just accentuating the shapes that you see in the animal. So you see his back is fairly straight. So I'm just going to make it straight. Actually, I can probably make it a little bit, I'll make it slope a little bit lower. Like so, maybe a little bit shorter. There we go. And I'm just going to use a circle for his like hindquarters. And that's more just so I can go off, just to kind of mark that that's where his little hindquarters are. So now I want to do this shape here, where his stomach is. So I'm just going to start on this and just go up, go off it a little bit, come down, and then I'm just going to go right to his head. Okay, so for his arms, I'm just going to make some lines where they are, just so I have an idea. The other arm is behind, so I'm just going to come right behind it like this. And I'll sort of have them, this one is a little bit higher, so let me erase a little bit. His paw is a little bit higher there. So now for this, it comes around. And I'm just matching everything that I see. I'm just simplifying all of this. So this comes out and down. And don't pay too much attention to the details too much. Just try to do it quickly. You know, don't think too much about it, because once you start thinking too much about it, then you can sort of lose out on this sort of gesture of sketching, which is very, very, very important. Now his other leg, should make him a little bit smaller. Oop, forgot his head. I'm just going to swipe on both of these, and then I'm just going to shrink him, just so I have a bit more room to work with. Okay, so his other leg comes down here. Make his tail. Big bushy tail. And his other leg comes down, it's very long. very long. And I'm going to select his leg again, and then I'm just going to adjust it so it's not so far down. Okay. And I'm going to use liquefy. I'm just going to bring this leg down some. I use liquefy a lot on my sketches. Okay, so now for this arm, it's kind of like a triangle sort of shape here. So we'll just draw that. And now I'm just copying, I'm just darting my eyes back and forth and just trying to match what I see. Simple round paw here. Now he has the other, make some hair coming off. And then he has this other long leg here. Okay, that's not bad. So now I'm just going to make his body a little bit smaller. And I'll just match it up. That's better. And here's where you can do a lot of, you can do a lot of stretching. And I like to use liquefy. And I just try to fix some of the proportions. You can even use select, and I can make him, I can make him a bit longer. It's not bad. And this is the beauty of a loose sketch. You just want to keep it loose and really find these shapes. That's pretty good. We can make his arm a little bit longer. So I'll liquefy, I'll use liquefy, and then I'm gonna stretch these arms even more. I use liquefy a lot. It makes the job a lot easier. Okay, now he has a lot of hair here, so I'm just going to simplify the hair. So for hair like this, then I'll just do this in some places. For like the hair curves back here, so I'll just sort of use lines like that. Just sort of going in the same direction of whatever his hair is. See this line, this hair up here? So that's when I'll just do something like that. And I just keep it very simple. Even for his little elbow, his elbow hairs. And I'll just kind of come off and give him just one or two little gestures to make it seem like hair. And for his paws, I can't really see them, but I keep those very simple as well. So I draw down, and then I make a line to where the ground would be. So I have, you know, this line that would be the ground here. And then I just make 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And here, similar, I'm doing the similar thing, but since his paw is turned, so 1, 2, 3. And I'll do the same thing for back here. Maybe like his toes are almost, maybe they're like touching the ground. Maybe we'll make it so, yeah, we'll make it so his foot is just curving and touching the ground. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now I just kind of look at him, and then I look at this and see if there's anything glaring. The only thing I see here is this knee, and this is way up. That's way high. So what I should do is I'm just going to erase this line. And bring that down some. Oops. And just make that fix that way. I'll make some little hairs from his little butt area. Okay, I think he looks alright. And of course, since we have the head on a different layer, we can always, let me get rid of the picture here, and just bring our character in the middle, and then do some edits to him. So yeah, his head looks a little off to me, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And I feel like it needs to be about here. Maybe a little bigger. And now I'm going to take the body layer and I'm going to use liquefy. Oops, I'm still on the head. Body layer, liquefy. Liquefy. And now I'm just going to adjust this so that it still matches up with his head again. I feel like I want to make his ears a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go back to his head and I'm going to use liquefy. And I'm just going to stretch those ears out. And maybe even stretch out his head. Make his snout a little bit longer. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now the only thing that we have left is to kind of shade in the darker areas. So you can do this right on top, or you can make a new layer below everything, depending on how comfortable you are. And let's take another look at our host here. I'll move our guy back over. Okay, so this part is definitely darker. So we'll just go ahead and darken that. And he also has dark, the bottoms of his limbs are pretty dark. So we'll just add some color. You don't need to go strict black, especially with a sketch, because you want to be able to see those lines. We worked hard on our sketch lines, so you want to make sure that you can see them. So don't go all the way black. Just give it a nice shade. Do the same thing with this one. And now you can do even lighter, just to do the regular shading of the different parts of the body, like under here, and you know, just sort of follow all of these little dark parts. So that's all I'm doing, is I'm just sort of scribbling in all of these dark areas. A little bit of his tail. You know, and then you can add in a little bit of the ground if you want. Just add in a little bit of the grass. I think I like him so far. I think he looks pretty good. Then you have yourself your maned wolf.